what is up? Welcome back to Play Friday, where every Friday we take a look at games that has piqued my interest. But this week we're gonna do it different because this week we will be taking a look at this one, the new Nintendo Switch Lite. So yeah, right now I've got my little sister and my girlfriend with me with the sound effects. Alright, so let's unbox this thing.
Can I do it?
Alright, you do it.
Yay!
So this right here is the new Nintendo Switch. Ooh, it's so it's very light.
That's
Holy
what it's called.
fish. Alright, so it has been a week since I have gotten this new Nintendo Switch Lite, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on it because it's actually pretty good. So just a bit of context, I also have the original Nintendo Switch right here. This is the new Switch. This thing is literally the light version of the Nintendo Switch. It has the perfect name. I'm going to give you some pros and cons from someone who has been using the Nintendo Switch, the original one. I actually love this thing, and then let's see what I actually think about this little thing. Let's start with some pros with the Nintendo Switch Lite. First and foremost, the most obvious thing about this little thing is its build quality. How small it is, how lightweight it is. I mean, I never had a problem with the weight of the Nintendo Switch. The original one, I thought it was super light when I picked it up for the first time, but then I held this one and this one feels really heavy, which just means this thing is very portable, and obviously it has been made as a handheld device. It is not meant to be put on a dock and then use a TV on it and then you play. No, that is not what this thing is intended for, because it can't do that. There's no dock. You will literally just get this thing and then a charger, and that's basically what's in the box. This thing is for purely handheld purposes only. Next up is its build quality. It feels great. I like its matte texture. I like its different colors. It's super fun. I do not like this specific color, but I like that you have a bunch of options when getting this console. So there's no kickstand, you can't pull the Joy-Cons out, but that's fine because it feels very intact. It feels like a unibody system, and it's pretty cool. Now, I never had a problem with this original Nintendo Switch, but after holding this little thing, it now kind of feels a bit flimsy. It feels like it's going to fall apart any second, but with this one, yeah, it's built pretty well, and I'm pretty sure it can take a beating. If you give this to a kid, this thing will probably last a long time. Speaking of kids, I think this Nintendo Switch Lite is a bit too small for me because I have big hands, and when I'm holding it, there's like a big gap in my hand right here. There's something missing, and I can't play with this part of my hands not doing anything. It's like it's just hanging in mid-air and not doing anything. It doesn't feel good at all. Again, this thing is made for people with small hands, kids probably, and people with medium hands. But for me, I don't like this missing part with my palms. It's just weird. I mean, I never had that problem with the Nintendo Switch. I hold it, it's snug, it's all good. My big hands are placed quite well on the Joy-Con right here. I can hold it firmly. It's all good. With this one, Yeah, it kind of feels, yeah, there's something missing there, but that's just me. I guess you could put on some kind of accessory. You probably won't be bothered with it because you might have small hands, or maybe you're just giving this to a kid, so something to keep in mind. And while we're still on the subject of kids, I want you to take a look at these buttons. I mean, they're white. That would probably get dirty over time. I mean, it has been a few days since I've gotten this, but you can see just a tiny bit of some kind of dirt on that joystick right there. You can probably clean that out, but who knows what would happen when you have had this for a month or a year. I wonder how dirty it would get. And now that we are on the topic of buttons, the buttons is a lot better than the original Switch. It feels more tactile, whereas in the original Switch, it kind of feels a little bit clicky. Yeah, you hear that? That's how the buttons sound on the original Switch. And with this one, yeah, it feels more, I don't know, it just feels more tactile. It just feels much better than the original Switch. So that's a huge plus for me. Not only that, the Nintendo Switch Lite does have directional buttons, where in the old Switch you have these 4 arrows. It doesn't feel good, it feels weird, but with this one, it's traditional. This is what we want. It feels clicky, it feels good, and I hope that Nintendo actually makes an official Joy-Con with this kind of directional arrows. Please, Nintendo, do it. Another bad thing about the Nintendo Switch Lite is that it does not have HD rumble. Yeah, it's the vibration system, and that is one of the best things about the original Switch. I love how the vibration feature feels like. It's very immersive, and I really enjoyed it every time it activates. And I'm missing that a lot with this Nintendo Switch Lite. It's not something you'll miss, but it's a pretty cool feature to have that is not here in the Nintendo Switch Lite. Another thing that you should know about this thing is that it does get hot over time. I mean, the Nintendo Switch usually gets hot, but the Lite gets hot very quickly. I mean, I felt it being warm in just 30 minutes of gameplay. And I think that's because the vents for the Nintendo Switch Lite is a little bit smaller than the original Switch. Again, that's something to keep in mind, something that you should know about if you're going to buy a Nintendo Switch Lite. And lastly, the most concerning, biggest problem for me with the Nintendo Switch Lite is that you can only have one main Switch. So if you have 2 Switch systems like me, it's going to be hard to transfer save data with these 2 consoles. So if you want to use your brand new Nintendo Switch Lite, you have to transfer your Nintendo account, all your Nintendo stuff, to this one, to the Nintendo Switch Lite, and then you can't really use your old Switch if you have already transferred all your data with this one. It's a bit complicated, and I don't know why that is. I mean, we already have Nintendo Switch Online. I mean, it should just sync between these 2 different consoles. Maybe if I wanted to just play home, I use this one, and then when I'm going out, I grab this one because this thing is much more portable. But I currently cannot do that without doing a bunch of syncing and transferring. Yeah, it sucks. So if you're going to get this, know that it's going to be a pain transferring stuff if you have another Switch. But if you just have this one, this is your main device, this is your only device, you're great. You're all good. You're going to enjoy this thing. I feel like I'm saying a lot of bad stuff about the Nintendo Switch Lite, but I still love it. Even though it has a lot of cons, the pros outweigh those negative stuff. Great battery life, great build quality, buttons feel amazing. I mean, you can't really go wrong with this little thing. Plus, it's only $200, $100 less than the original Nintendo Switch. So again, you can't really go wrong. But other than that, that is everything that I want to say about this new console. it's pretty good. If you have kids, if you have small hands, or if you just want a great handheld console, this thing, it's pretty great. Other than that, that is it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you again on the next video. Bye bye.